Thank you, sir.
Okay.
Okay. What do we
And,
have for members this evening?
We have Penny, Eric, Jen, and Richard,
and
And
Frank.
you,
and Frank.
He's a member, I think.
Richard, Penny,
Jen,
Jen, and Eric.
Eric.
Awesome. Thank you. Good evening, everybody.
Hi.
Okay. Couple of quick things to read. This is our May 5th meeting of Situate Conservation Commission. This meeting's being held virtually as an alternate means of public access pursuant to Chapter 20 of the Acts of 2021, temporarily amending certain provisions of the open meeting law. We are hereby advised that this meeting and all communications during the meeting may be recorded by the town of Scituate in accordance with the open meeting law. And number two, the Scituate Conservation Commission is committed to providing an environment of respect during our meetings. We ask all members to interact in a polite manner, even when there's disagreement. We value the participation of our community and want all participants, including marginalized and minoritized communities, to feel welcome and respected. We ask our committee members and all that participate to commit to these standards and to support and respect the community. Thank you. So that said, we have an agenda. Any additions, omissions? Anybody wants to?
Just the several continuances that are on the agenda.
Okay. Um,
Frank,
yes, Richard.
would I suggest we take care of the three continuances, which are all in order, so that the people that might be waiting can know that they shouldn't be?
Sounds like a good idea. Um, so is the school continued?
No,
No,
the school's happening
Okay, so we're gonna be, just so folks know, so 30 Marshfield, they've requested a continuance
to June
to
16th.
16th. Have a motion for that?
I make a motion we continue 30 Marshfield Ave to June 16th.
Second it.
Penny
I'll second it.
from Richard, all in favor? Jen
Yep.
and Eric and Frank, yes. Okay,
Oh.
107 Edward Foster Road.
I make a motion we continue 107 Edward Foster Road to May 19th.
Okay, do we have a second on that? Everybody's
Second
so
from Jen.
polite, they don't want to jump first. Second from Jen. All in favor, Richard,
Yes.
Eric? Yes. And Frank, yes. And Jen, do we keep it on, like, I know some of butters are following this pretty hard. Are they checking in by email or anything, or do we have them hanging for each meeting? I get concerned when these things start to get kicked out.
In and out.
Um, they have been, we've had abutters contacting the office.
Okay. All right. And how many continuances are they up to now?
This might be their third one?
Okay. That they've given reason to continue?
Yes, they funded the peer review and we were gonna have that process happen.
Okay. And you think the time frame that they've asked to continue it, that's reasonable?
To have a response, yes.
Okay. All right. So I'm sorry, I think we voted that, right?
We did.
Okay,
Yeah,
thank you.
107. Now we're at 185.
So 185 Edward Foster Road.
I make a motion we continue 185 Edward Foster Road to May 19th.
Okay, to a second. From Eric, all in favor? Richard?
Yep.
And Jen?
Yep.
Okay, and Frank, yes. This one seems like the can's been kicked down the road a couple of times too.
Yes, as.
For the similar reasons, or
They had their yes, they're having it reviewed and we're working on the comments to that.
Okay. All right. Thank you. All right. Those are the ones that are going to get continued?
Yes.
Okay. So back to 72 and vinyl. This is town of Scituate, Hadley School.
Yes, and we do have their several of the representatives for that project on the call if I don't know if they want to give us a brief update, but it
Okay.
did close with the planning board last week.
Okay. And to Jen's point, a brief review would be helpful. We've got 1, 2, 3, like 7 or 8 more hearings after this. Thank you.
Hi, this is Tom Hengelsberg with Doran Whittier Architects, project manager. How's
Good evening.
everybody doing?
Evening. How are
Great.
you, Tom?
Very
Good.
good, thank you.
Good. Yeah, so there's really not much to update. Nothing has really changed since we gave our presentation to you all last month.
Hmm.
We just went through the process with the planning board. We got our order of conditions. All conditions were agreed to, very reasonable. Um, the one thing that's sort of left hanging is we are going to do a couple more test pits for the infiltration system, which happened to be in the middle of the sport field, so we wanted to wait until summertime to do that. And that was conditioned, so that was okay. Um, I've also got Mark Manganello from LEC here with us tonight, and Steve Ventresca from Niche and Brian Biagini from Niche. I don't know if you guys wanted to add anything.
Nope, not me. This is Mark. Hello, everyone.
Hi,
Good
Mark.
evening.
Any changes to what we've seen before, Mark?
Nope.
Okay.
Looks good.
Thank you.
Yeah, there have been no changes to the site plan other than moving some trees a tiny little bit. That's really been about it.
Is all the erosion control on the site side of Hadley Road? There's nothing discharging to the other side of the road? Drainage or anything?
That's
With the
correct.
albino? No.
There's somebody, Steve, Ventresca, he's got his hand up.
Oh, is he
Hi,
able to speak?
Steven Tresca. Yeah, no,
There you
I
go,
can,
Steve.
sorry. I accidentally muted, didn't realize I could unmute. Let me lower my hand. Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Stephen Ventresca with Niche Engineering. So we are not discharging across the street. We are discharging at Ann Vinyl Road, and then we're discharging into the closed drainage system that then goes page left on this as we look at the plan.
Frank, you're muted.
So none of those drainages would have a chance to discharge into a wetland.
Correct. That's correct.
Okay. Um, okay. Anybody else on your team want to comment?
Sorry, before anyone else comments, I will say the peer review comment noted that we had a couple of outfalls that were within buffer zone. I just didn't know if that needed to be specifically mentioned as part of any approval process or condition. Just want to make sure that we address the comments from the peer review that specifically pointed to those, which are in commission jurisdiction.
Okay. And are they protected during this project? You know, just
The-
thinking about some sort of drainage issues or whatever. Should something,
Yep. Yeah. We've provided flared end sections with riprap outfall, based on the outflow from each of the outfalls to help protect any, prevent any scour, et cetera, towards the wetland or within the buffer zone itself. We have many means of capturing sediment even before we get to the discharge point. And then I think one of the bigger questions for the planning board and also for the peer review were the interim conditions. And so we've provided a robust series of swales and pipe and stone and frac tanks to help with sedimentation removal during the construction process, because I know that's been an issue on several recent projects in town. So we're trying to be mindful of that.
I'm sure Karen, we both worked at some of that and had some pretty difficult issues. So that's sort of what I had on my radar screen.
Yeah.
Okay. And I don't mean to jump ahead of others. Thanks. Jen, did you have a chance to, or anything else you want
No, nothing to add, just that our conditions would mirror a lot of, well, they'd be referencing a lot of the information from the planning board as far as the during construction of some of the stormwater issues, well, conditions. And, we're both accepting the same plan, so that's helpful. And I guess the other thing I wanted to add is that Brendan joined the meeting, so we have him as well.
Awesome. Okay, thank you. Penny?
Nope, I'm all set. I like
Oh.
it.
Okay. Jen? Foley?
All good?
Are you conflicted on this, Jen? Will your daughter wind up in that school?
I hope, because we were all Hatherley kids,
There you
and
go.
my dad was too, but you never know.
I think you're okay.
I went to
And
the original Hadley.
Brendan?
I'm good. I'm good.
Okay. Eric?
All set as well. Thank you.
Okay. Do we have anybody in the audience for this one?
Hey, Frank,
Yes. Oh, Richard, I'm sorry.
just wanted to
I-
mention, I have all sorts of no questions at all. I'm good.
I'm sorry.
No worries.
Did I ask Penny?
Yes,
You
you
did.
did, sir.
Okay.
You asked everyone now.
All right. Thank you. Give me let me get caught up here. It's been a busy day.
Yeah.
Yep.
Okay. So, I guess I
We're
could,
ready to.
anybody in the audience, and we asked anybody in the audience, no hands up, right?
Yeah,
I didn't see any hands up, and if you're thinking about closing, you could close an issue.
Okay.
can I go, Frank?
It's, just been waiting for you, Penny.
Okay, I make a motion that we close an issue on the school.
That's from Penny. Do I have a second?
I'll second it. And that's 72 and vinyl, right?
Yes.
Thank you, Richard. All in favor, Jen?
Yep.
Brendan?
Yes.
Eric?
Yes.
So enthusiastic. And Frank, yes.
Yay.
Thank you very
All good.
much.
All good.
I'm not
Okay.
often accused of being enthusiastic.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
You did a
Thanks a
great
lot.
Thank
Yeah,
you,
it's
everyone.
job.
a lot of work, and you guys have, I'm sure you've had your hands full pulling all this together. So appreciate all the efforts.
Well, we appreciate the
Good.
process. It makes for a better project. Thank you all.
Thank you.
Thank you. Have a good night.
Too.
Good night.
113 Clap Road.
Yep.
Someone from Morse Engineering.
Yes, I just unmuted Greg Morse.
Hi, this is Greg.
Good evening.
Good evening.
So
And
where do
I-
we stand with this one?
Greg, are you going to do an intro?
No, go right ahead, Jen.
Well, I was going to say we've opened it, we continued it. We had it, the wetland line reviewed, a revision was made to the plans, and that should be the plan that's up with some of those revisions on it. And a couple comments were received maybe this weekend from Lucas Environmental. So I'm hoping Greg will address some of those tonight.
Greg?
Sure. For the record, Greg Morse, registered engineer, Morse Engineering, representing the property owners, Jeff Caulfield and Aaron Broderick. This is a notice of intent that was opened up for a raise and rebuild of a single-family home at 113 Clap Road, also construction of a detached garage. Um, the new home is predominantly going in the same location, and it's almost the exact same footprint as the home that sits at the site today. Um, the garage that's going up is largely outside the 100-foot buffer zone, but encroaches into it slightly. The commission had hired Lucas Environmental to conduct a peer review. Lucas had gone out and reviewed the wetlands, and they had disagreement of one of the wetland flags. They went out a second time with our wetland consultant, who's John Zimmer, who's a professional wetland scientist. And they reviewed that location and they made an adjustment to the line by adding, I believe, two flags. We updated the buffer zones associated with that. All of our work remains outside of the 50-foot buffer zone as a result of that change. We received a comment letter from Lucas Environmental today, despite having submitted these plans previously. There are 21 comments. I didn't see that any of them warranted any further plan changes. In looking at the comments that are here, I think anything that was outstanding could be addressed in conditions in an order if the commission felt the project was worthy of receiving an order of conditions. They recommended demarcating portions of the buffer zone with a fence. We would suggest that maybe instead of a fence, we could put in a couple of posts with signs along the buffer zone areas. Um, there was a request about some trees that had been cut. I went out to the site today. I looked at the tree stumps, which are still in place. They were trees that were rotted more than 50% of the way through the stump. Um, they were outside the 50-foot buffer zone, and I believe at least three of the four trees that were called out in this letter are outside the 100-foot buffer zone. I didn't see any plan changes as a result of that. There was a question about there's a catch basin within the existing driveway that they noted, and they said that it wasn't shown on a previous septic plan back in 2017. I checked with my client who's owned the house since about that time. 2017 is when the septic was installed. He did not install this catch basin, so there's been a catch basin there apparently for, 8+ years. We can't date it, but it sits in the middle of a gravel driveway. We're not proposing any changes to it. Lucas asked for sizing of some of the site improvements. They wanted to know the size of the gravel driveway that we were expanding. If you zoomed in on the plan here, you'd see that there's a gravel driveway from Clap Road, which is at the top right of the page, that comes all the way to the house. And we were proposing a small expansion of that to connect to the proposed detached garage. This plan here is to scale, and it shows exactly where that gravel's being placed outside the 50-foot buffer zone. But we provided an area of that. The gravel driveway we're adding is 923 square feet. They were asking about capacity of that catch basin within the driveway, if it would be acceptable. My professional opinion, although I didn't run any stormwater calculations on this site, is that the drainage would be perfectly acceptable. We specifically designed this project to be under the thresholds of a stormwater permit. We kept it under 25% of an increase of an impervious area. There was a question about the existing pool at this site apparently has some sort of pipe that discharges toward the wetlands from its pool equipment. This is a pool that's been in place for a significant long time. My client has no intentions of changing anything with respect to the pool with this application, and he's not aware that this pipe discharges anything to the wetlands. It's about a 2-inch polyethylene pipe. I went out and looked at it today. It's capped. It appears to be maybe used if they ever backflowed or backwashed the system. He has never done that in the time that he's been there. But again, we're not changing anything with respect to the pool that's at the site. With respect to the work that we're doing here, I think it fully meets the town of Scituate requirements to be issued an order. All of the work is outside the 50-foot buffer. DEP had no comments. We're providing erosion control barriers, and the wetland line has been confirmed by your scientist. I would have submitted a response letter or perhaps a revised plan with those conservation markers had I not received the comments today. I didn't want to put that in front of the commission on the day of the hearing. But I think these things that are outstanding could all be adjusted in an order if the commission felt worthy. I'm going to turn it over to you.
Thank you, Greg. Jen, even before we get started, when did this application first come in?
I have that we received this in February. I'm, that's what,
Okay.
yes.
I just get a sense that
Oh,
this is
no, I
some
know.
frustration with the time that it's taken to get some of this information back. Okay, thanks. Do you want to comment on some of those things that Greg said before we go to members?
Yes, I think he answered most of the questions that were there. One of the recommendations was like where any construction related stockpiling might go on. We usually cover that in our conditions if it's not on the plan, but to have it outside the buffer zone, the 50-foot buffer zone. If you think it needs to be in it, then we would, let us know and we would want appropriate erosion control around it. I do think the other comments are things that can be conditioned and unless there's other, depending on what other questions are from the commission. I'm just reading through what I had highlighted. One of the other questions was about, underneath the porches, is there any particular, is it a foundation under the porches? Is it any details for those?
Sure, under the porches, those are constructed on sonotubes. That would just be either dirt or gravel surface underneath.
And then just to clarify, it's the house is being raised and rebuilt, or are they
Correct.
reusing some of the foundation?
They may reuse a portion of the foundation under the existing house, but for the most part, it will be entirely rebuilt.
Okay.
Wow.
Okay.
All right. Thank you.
Thank you, Jen. Richard?
Actually, the only question I have, Greg, and I think you may have covered it, and I apologize if I'm asking you to repeat something, but you said there's an extension on the gravel driveway going to the proposed garage. That's not on the drawing I'm seeing, so I'm presuming that that would be part, if we conditioned it, you'd add it in?
It's actually right below where it's right where the cursor was just on the screen. There's two red trees that are highlighted there.
Yep.
Those two trees are to be removed, and you'll see that there's a faint black line going from the existing gravel driveway to the front corners of that proposed garage. So it's labeled there, prop gravel.
I
So
see it.
that's the
I do see it. Thank
location.
you. Yeah,
Yeah.
and that's a similar width to the existing driveway?
It- So, I mean, the existing driveway coming in from Clap Road is, probably 10 feet wide.
Mm-hmm.
And then it widens out when you get up here to the
Right,
house.
right. I would think that should be part of the actual drawing when it's finally done. I have no problem with it though. Frank, that's all I got.
Okay, thanks, Richard. And then usually just under those decks, like the building code calls for crushed stone, certain number of inches of crushed stone. Penny?
Yeah, I just, so the garage now, that's gonna be living space when they rebuild? And they're just having the detached garage?
You mean the current garage, like in
The
that?
current garage, I believe, is attached to the house.
Okay.
Yes, no?
I'm opening up the architecturals just to confirm that. The detached garage is a 3-car garage.
Right.
And let's see, the proposed architecturals here. Demo plan. Boom. It's a two-car that's attached to the house.
Oh, so they're still gonna have,
So
so,
they'll still have the garage attached to the house. So
okay,
it's a separate detached three-car, barn garage.
okay. All right. Okay. I'm all right, Frank, I think. I don't know.
Okay.
It's a lot.
Well, if you're into cars, or you got a hobby.
Yeah, no, I just was looking at my plan because I can see better. But
Okay.
moving on, sir.
Um, Eric?
Um, yeah, so I think with regard to the fence that was being requested, I'm open to posts and markers instead, unless there's a significant reason to ask for the fence. I feel like having the markers is appropriate. And despite the health of the two trees that are to be removed, I do appreciate that the applicant's amenable to the replacements, and I see those on the plan. Um, so I just want to acknowledge those two things. And yeah, the addition of the gravel to the proposed garage, it's not like we're talking about impervious surface. So I see really no significant issue with that either. Um, Other than that, I think I'm good, Frank.
Okay, thank you. Brendan?
I don't think I have anything else to, I think I'm good.
Okay, thank you. Jen?
Set.
Okay. Do we have anybody in the audience? Okay. I'm kind of familiar with this site. It's been here a long time. Hall family's house. Um, and it seems like the changes are pretty much consistent with someone that would want to make those moves. I realize it does abut a significant wetland.
Yeah.
But the house has been there for as long as at least 60 years that I'm aware of, maybe more. Um, and it doesn't seem like they're really going any closer
No.
to any of those areas or adding a lot more significant um,
No.
issues. So I don't really see anything else that I would expect to have. And if Jen, if you're comfortable with take writing in those comments between you and Greg, um, I don't know if we're okay to close this. If you feel like you need to do more on the orders or
No, I think I can add those conditions that we've discussed. Yeah, there was several details added to this plan that I think that the one that we're looking at that I think are helpful, and having the wetland line correct is, or something we all agree upon is good.
Um,
Um, yeah, no, I'm good with including those conditions we've talked about into the plan, into the orders that we have started.
okay.
um, yeah, I think sometimes these wetlands lines, it is the discretion of the markers, and people see things a little bit differently. Um, I guess what always concerns me is some of the reviews get pretty costly if they're not real significant. Um, do we have anybody from was Lucas that reviewed this? Are they
Um, no, I had her comments and I thought they were pretty clear.
okay? All right. And as far as the fence or the markers, my preference is, we don't want to put up more barriers,
Markers.
Critters.
unless, someone's trying to fence in an area. So I think the markers at the end of the day stay longer. A fence eventually rots and falls over if people aren't interested in keeping it. And I think to Eric's point, they've added some trees to replace trees. So um, I don't have a problem. So someone want to make a motion to close?
I make a motion to close.
And
Thank you, Penny.
if you want to
Yep.
close an issue,
Okay,
I mean, I'm good with that.
okay.
You're okay.
I make a motion to close an issue.
Okay.
113 clap.
It's Penny. Do I have a second?
I'll second.
That's from Eric. All in favor? Richard,
Yes.
Jen,
Yep.
Brendan,
Yes.
and Frank, yes.
Thank you.
I'm just having a
Welcome.
good time here. All right. We
Moving
just,
on.
how about 175 Maple Street?
April.
I think I'm trying to unmute the applicant and his engineer.
Hi, you have Whitmire Charles, the owner of 175 Maple, and my representative, Steve Dunbar, who is going to speak on my behalf.
Yeah, can you people hear me?
Yep.
We got
Yes.
you.
Yeah, thank you for unmuting me. I tried to turn my camera on, but it told me it was disabled on your end.
And who am we speaking with?
I'm sorry, this is Steve Dunbar, Dunbar Engineering.
Good
The one
evening.
that developed the design. Good evening. I don't know if you want my video on or not, but I can just speak to the plan if that's what you want.
Well, let's do that.
Okay. All right. Well, thank you, Mr. Chairman, members of the board. Thank you for your time. As Widmer said, I'm representing him. I provided this design that was reviewed by Merrill, and I think Deb is on the meeting. I see your name up there. So 175 Maple, it's a small lot. It's 14,532 square feet. There's an existing structure on the property and an existing driveway. The proposal is to raise that building, put a new dwelling on it, new driveway, patio and walkway. The property, current property slopes off gently, like at about 2% from the southwest to the northeast corner. There's a wood line shown there, but it really is represented by just several large trees that are back there. And there's also the edge of the 100-foot buffer zone touches the backyard as well. So to handle the runoff from the new roof line and the new driveway, rain garden was proposed. Because of the size of the lot, it was very challenging because of the size of the lot and the fact that the soil evaluations done for the proposed septic system showed that the groundwater table was at 32 inches. So I looked at putting the rain garden in the front, but obviously it slopes off to the back. And when you start looking at the property line offsets, the building offsets, and the mass stormwater offsets, there really wasn't a practical spot to put it in the front. So I fit it in the back, proposing a 1,220 square foot rain garden. Which will capture the first 1 inch of all runoff. It also meets the mass stormwater standards. Deb from Merrill had pointed out that, it was close to the proposed septic system. My response to that was that it meets, if you look at it, if we're trying to meet the mass stormwater standards to the maximum extent practicable, excuse me, I think we're okay because it does meet the Title V offset requirement for a surface drain, that it does not intercept the seasonal high groundwater table. So it meets that requirement. It also meets the breakout distance requirement for the from the edge of the soil absorption system. You have to have a 15-foot offset for the breakout, and it does meet that requirement as well. I adjusted the contouring. Deb had a concern with making sure I was capturing all the impervious runoff. So the contouring was adjusted slightly to make sure that it does get captured and sent down across the back property into the rain garden. And lastly, I will say it's still an outstanding recommendation that Deb made to perform another soil evaluation to confirm the estimated seasonal high groundwater table back there within the rain garden. So I used the data from the soil evaluations that were done for the septic system, which were about 15 feet, 15 to 20 feet from the rain garden, because I didn't want the for Woodmar to have to, incur the additional expense for another test. But I do understand her recommendation. I'm a soil evaluator, so I can do that. So if the board were to require it, and I'm not sure if this is possible, but I would ask that you consider approving the plan with the condition that I conduct that soil evaluation with photo documentation to confirm that seasonal high groundwater table, so that he doesn't have to incur a separate cost with a separate mobilization of equipment to perform that test. And with that, I'll open it up to any questions that you have.
Frank, you're muted, but I was going to say maybe we let
Then we can't hear you.
comment.
I could hear that she's suggesting that maybe Deb jump in first. So, Deb, if you're
Hi.
on.
Yep. I
Good
got
evening.
turned on now, so hopefully you can hear me.
Got you.
Yes.
Good evening, everyone. Deb Keller with Merrill Engineers and Land Surveyors. And thank you. That summary was very clear. And I'll just hop to I think the remaining comments, and I would concur that we could do a confirmatory test pit prior to construction as a condition. And it's really just, I do believe that I'm just trying to be safe here and confirm that the garden has the same sort of conditions as where the septic is. It does look fairly flat in the backyard, so I would anticipate seeing the same type of condition that you're seeing in the test pit within that we have for the septic system, but just wanting to confirm that before they start doing full construction and then have an issue. I'd rather just have a heads up as they're starting, so that if there is something that we need to tweak, we can tweak it prior to. So I think that could be done as a condition prior to construction, as we've done in the past. One of the other outstanding comments, which was addressed today, was highlighting the 3 trees to be removed. And just wanted those clarified on the plan so that we don't lose any other trees. If other trees need to be removed, I believe would recommend that they notify the commission prior to removal.
Yes.
And let's see, they made the adjustment, clarified the rain garden berm elevation. And then lastly, I was just recommending, and I think it's a problem, and I don't know, Frank, you might be able to answer this question for me. I was trying to track down just making sure there wasn't any groundwater separation to the basement slab elevation. As of right now, the basement slab is only a 1/10 higher than seasonal high that's been determined from the test pit within the septic system. So just wanting to make sure that if they need to raise the building for any reason and it impacts the grading, since we only have about 15 feet on either side of the house,
Yeah.
that if they're changing the grading for any reason, that they bring those modifications back to you to make sure that we are directing the stormwater flow to the rain garden as designed. And those were it. Everything else was addressed.
Can I just, this is Steve Dunbar again. I just add that I did label those trees to be removed as Deb had requested.
Yes,
Those
I
plans
did.
were submitted today. I didn't, I'm sorry if you said that. I didn't hear it.
Yeah, yeah, we have those. It's an oak tree and looks like a pine, a 12-inch
Yeah,
oak and a 14-inch pine. Are there more?
right. There's three total. So there's
Three.
one near the side of the house that maybe you didn't see, and then there's two
I see it.
that are sit within the rain garden. There's three I think that can be saved that are just outside of it. One's on the north property line, and two to the east of the rain garden.
Yep. Yep.
Okay.
Inch.
Okay.
I believe they're clearly shown on the existing conditions plan, so that you can see which ones were the ones to be removed.
Yeah. Yeah.
Got it. I see him. I guess everybody else clear.
Yeah, if you want to put on the screen, just slide to the left.
There's sort of one off the corner of the house and then two out in the rain garden area.
Yeah.
As long as others aren't impacted. Okay. Jen, do you want to add? Thank you, Deb. Jen, do you want to add anything?
Yes, so the Board of Health is good. They're waiting for us. They also went to zoning, and they're done with zoning. The area is the Water Resource Protection District, so they had requirements they needed to meet there. I'm not sure if they've talked to DPW, but I'm assuming they'll need to coordinate with them as far as the driveway changes on the road is concerned. And
Jen, you're really faint.
okay, is that
There
better?
we go. Yep.
All right.
Thank you.
All right. So the Board of Health is good. They've been through zoning. It's also in the Water Resource Protection District, so that added some requirements to work that needed to be done. And just a reminder that I don't know if they've already spoken to DPW, but as far as the driveway is concerned, and we would have our conditions that we have for a raised rebuild and septic, rain garden, stormwater, certainly all of those. And then to just reiterate what Deb said, if there's changes, they would need to come back because we cover the whole site. I know the 100-foot buffer is just the back of the lot, but with the stormwater permit, where it impacts the entire site.
Mhm.
Sorry, this is Widmeyer Charles, the property owner. As far as the DPW goes, I can confirm that I have an approved permit for them for the proposed driveway.
Great. Thank you. Okay. Let's see. Eric, this is about as close to your home turf. You want to go first?
Sure thing. So, I guess my first question just is relative to the further soil analysis. Uh, what happens if it does say something different? Is that only going to impact the design specs for the rain garden? I assume that would be the case. I'm not sure who would be the one to answer that. Deb, maybe.
Oh.
Sure. So let's just say groundwater is they have 3 feet of separation right now, thereabouts. So they have a little bit of a buffer to the 2-foot minimum. But let's say for some reason groundwater is 2 feet higher than anticipated. I don't foresee that, but let's just say it would be. Then the bottom of the basin may get higher, and they would lose storage in the basin, but they have close to 1,200 square feet, or excuse me, cubic feet, I think. Let me double check that. Their
Yeah, I
volume.
mean,
within the basin is well over double what's required. So I think there is some buffer in the design to accommodate if there was a change. And so I think the rain garden, worst case scenario, would get shallower or would have to expand slightly. But and that would be the reason for asking them to come back to see you if they had to regrade. They may have to push it a little closer to the property line if they would have to expand.
Right. And that was my sort of follow up on that was if that groundwater level impacted the basement floor elevation and they did have to regrade around, would that then have a trickle down effect on both the septic and the rain garden itself? I'm just trying to think of just the thought process behind, issuing these within a condition, and like how that would be resolved if
So,
we were to go
Deb,
that
can I attempt
direction.
to answer that? This is Steve Dunbar. Can I?
Sure,
Yeah,
sure.
so we've got two soil evaluations that occurred within the footprint of the soil absorption system, which were witnessed by the Board of Health. So I think we are good there. I don't think anything needs to change there. If we find that we need a couple of inches or so underneath the rain garden, I think probably the easiest thing to do would be to lift it up those couple of inches to get the clearance because the contractor he may have already had it staked out. He knows where it's got to go. The easiest thing to do would probably just be to lift it the 2 inches. But if we got other problems, if it's way higher or we need to find some additional clearance somehow, we would do the things that Deb suggested. We could look at the dimensions and the depth and that kind of thing. But to keep it simple, I'd rather just lift it.
Yeah, that makes sense. I just was trying to wrap my head around, the whole, set of implications potentially, if
Right.
that impacted either the rain garden or, uh, you know,
Yeah.
if you were too close to groundwater for your sub base for the basement installation and had to regrade, and what sort of trickle down impact that might have. Uh, Obviously,
Yeah.
we hope that that's not the case, but yeah, I just trying to wrap my head around that with those questions there. So thank you, Steve and Deb on that. And just for clarification, one last question: the 14-inch pine that is along the limit of work and erosion control area, that's the one that will be removed, and not the 14-inch oak paper right of that pine. Am I correct on that?
I'm looking at the plan right now, the 14. Yeah, so if they're outside the toe of the toe of the edge of the rain garden, we'll try and save them.
Okay. Yeah, I just was wondering on that 14-inch pine specifically because I wasn't able to follow, your sort of description earlier. And because that is on the limit of work line, I didn't know if that was up for removal or if that was going to try and be
Right.
preserved.
Yeah.
And what possible implication, excavation would have on the root zone of that tree, in terms of, its future health. So just thinking about that too.
Understood.
Okay.
All right. I
Good.
think I'm good for right now. Thanks.
Okay.
Thanks, Frank.
Yep. We always circle back. Brendan?
Brendan went to sleep.
There he is.
Almost. No,
Okay.
I'm just kidding. No, I actually, I really don't have any questions again, so
Okay.
I'm good.
Jen?
Uh, yeah, I think I'm good. I guess the only clarification would just be I feel like we're hearing a lot of we'll try to save this tree. And so just what the protocol would be in the event the tree can't be saved, should they be communicating that before having somebody out? Just that clarification. Otherwise, I'm good.
Want to comment on that? How we might address that?
I think we can ask, I think we normally put that in our conditions, but that any tree over a certain size, we want marked that's going to come down. So when we
Jen, again, it's kind of hard to hear you.
Sorry.
Sorry.
We would ask for the trees that are going to come down to be marked so we can see that as part of the pre-construction meeting. The ones that are back there where the rain garden is going.
Okay. But I think the question might be more once they start construction, if they decide that the trees aren't going to make it, is there a provision in this or in the orders that maybe additional trees could somehow be replaced? Does that make more sense? Is that is that the direction?
Yeah, that was what I was leaning towards.
Okay.
It's
Have a tree
thought.
condition about if something else needs to come down, some sort of replacement proposed.
Is there
Yeah,
anything
just
proposed
so
right
they don't
now?
have to like come all the way back for, another tree that just doesn't quite make it because of the rain garden or something.
Is there any proposed replacement right now? I apologize if I
No,
missed that.
other than the plantings into the rain garden, none of those are going to be the size of the trees that would have to come down.
No, we know. Yeah.
Okay. Let's think about that. If there have to be additional trees, perhaps we could have something in the orders about planting an additional tree or whatever too. Okay. Thank you, Jen. Anything else, Jen?
Nope, all
Well,
good.
okay. Penny? Thank you.
Such a cute house that's there. I'm very sad to see it go. This is the problem, when we have these small lots with a cute little house, and now they're going to put a bigger house. They need septic, they need this, they need that, and we run into these issues with the vegetation that's out there. I think definitely somehow, Janet, should be in the orders that if they have to take any of the trees down, they have to let you know and somehow replace it with something. Because, yeah, that's my concern too. Thank you.
Thanks, Penny. Richard?
I don't really have anything additional to add other than the previous comments I think are very appropriate.
Okay. Do we have anybody in the audience for this one?
I don't see any hands raised.
Jen, do you want to add any more, or the applicant want to add any more? Deb, anybody have any additional? So to Deb's question about the foundation height, that does seem awful close to only be 1/10, and if you're that close, you're going to be pumping. I guess is the concern, right?
Yeah, and
So
I was, oh,
go ahead,
sorry,
Deb.
sorry. Go
No, go ahead.
I was just going to say I was trying to track that require if there was a requirement either through Board of Health or building as to whether or not there was a required separation. So Jen and I were speaking about a potential condition that would say should they have to alter the building, meaning raise it up to provide more separation with groundwater, they would have to come back to you if they chose to regrade the property. I mean, there's a couple things they could do. They could expose more of the foundation or, fill around where my concern came is if they filled more around the house, it makes it a little bit more challenging to make sure that the surface runoff gets back around the building and to the rain garden. So we were considering or recommending a condition that would say if you do alter the grading to provide further separation between the building slab and groundwater, you would need to come back to the commission for review and approval.
Yeah,
Just to make sure the stormwater is design meets the requirements.
yeah.
The applicant want to respond to that at all?
It makes total sense to me. You know, Deb reviewed it. It was pretty challenging, but we got everything to drain to the back, and I understand exactly what she's saying. So I would think that the condition could just say if we're planning on changing the grades that are currently approved, yeah, we gotta revisit it with you. I'm totally okay with that.
I mean, I should know what that answer is, Deb, but I don't. But you got me.
I should too.
So I'm gonna be looking that one up. Um, but you just think about it. If someone you're supposed to put like a radon pipe or something under the slab, um, with crushed stone, and if you have any kind of a pit there, it's gonna have water in it. So I think the applicant might want to think about that. Maybe they just have to expose more of their foundation, um, and deal with it with planting
Yeah, plantings around.
but give that some thought.
That's
Okay.
what I do.
Anything else? Anybody else?
Nope. No. What are we gonna do?
Jen?
If you're okay with those conditions that we've discussed, then we're then we're set. If you want that work done before you close, then that would be different.
I think if we can add those pieces, I'm fine with it. It seems to me like they're gonna find similar conditions. I think maybe it'd be good for the applicant to look at that with the building department and decide what they're gonna do about if there's gonna be any change. But we can get that in either a minor mod or whatever, unless it's real significant.
And then we'll include a condition regarding trees,
Yep.
additional trees
Yeah.
being removed
Yep.
and something being replaced.
Yep.
Anybody else? Just we kind of went around in a little circle here.
Well,
Okay.
I'll make a motion to close. Are we gonna issue, Jen?
Yes.
I make a motion to close and issue.
Yeah, that was Penny. All in favor, Richard?
Yep. Well,
Jen
you need a
Foley?
second.
Oh, wait a minute. Oh, I
I'll
needed a
second
second
that.
first. I'm going to give that one to Richard because he really. Richard seconded. All in
Okay.
favor. Jen,
Yes.
Brendan,
Yes.
and Eric. You'll get a turn. Okay.
Yes.
Frank, yes. All right. I have to recluse myself for the next hearing.
Yep, Wood Island.
Yep.
Oh, we need to open it.
Joshua. Well, can I open it without
Oh, did Jen leave?
No, Jen's there, but she's
Yeah,
watching.
I didn't think about this. I didn't send her the Jen, can I email
Yeah.
you?
Yep.
Okay. Trying. Looking.
Sorry, Whitmire Charles on 175. I just want to say thank you to the commission and have a great night.
You too.
Thank you very
You
much.
too.
Thank
It's
you.
quite a process.
It is, but we're getting there, so thank you.
Thank you.
All right. Jen, I think I just sent you the ad.
Hold on.
Okay, huh?
And just
All
as a
right.
heads up, you got to send her the one for 15 Circuit Ave too.
Yep.
Oh, we did not discuss me doing too.
Oh, one.
Hold on.
I
Yep,
don't
I got it.
understand this at all. That's all right.
Let me know when you're ready for me to start reading.
It's all you.
We're ready.
Okay. All right. On May 5th, 2025 at 6 p.m., the Scituate Conservation Commission will hold a wetlands hearing under Chapter 131 Section 40 of the Massachusetts General Laws, and Section 30700 of the Town of Scituate Code of Bylaws for a notice of intent filed by David and Emily Anderson for the repair and improvement of existing roof drainage apparatus and vegetation management located at 20 Wood Island Road, Scituate. Abutters and other interested parties are invited to attend. Information to access meeting will be available on the agenda posted on the town website.
Okay.
You, members of the commission, thank you, Jen, for introducing the project. Brad Holmes with ECR on behalf of David and Emily Anderson for this notice of intent at 20 Wood Island. What we're proposed is a site improvement and a vegetation management plan. As Jen has shown here on the photographs, there's a band of Phragmites along the upper salt marsh that we're proposing to try to eradicate through an ongoing mowing program. We'll look at herbicide after we've been able to monitor a mowing program to see how successful we are with that. But there's as you can see, Phragmites within that upper salt marsh, right up to the edge of the existing yard. There's a good portion of the property that has a stone wall at the edge of the yard, so it's very well demarcated or where the landward limit of the work is proposed. You can see the Phragmites there in the both images. Jen, would you be able to pull up the overall aerial image? I think it's
the next tab.
Okay, great.
You got it, Josh?
1 second. That's the revised, which is kind of cut off. So I'm quickly grabbing the big one for Brad.
Thanks, Josh.
Yeah, I think if you go to the plan from 5-1.
5-1. No, I think that's just this.
That's the shed, which I can get into
Yeah,
next.
yeah. Let me just grab the this one.
Yes, perfect. Thank you.
Yep, no problem.
That's an overall image of the property. The wetland delineation of the upper salt marsh there has been delineated in yellow with that yellow line with the triangles. The 150-foot buffer extends from that delineation, and the blue shading demarcates the land subject to coastal storm flowage. So the Phragmites work that we're proposing would be within the upper salt marsh and land subject to coastal storm flowage. Mm-hmm. Josh, if you could go to the next page, I think that shows the Phragmites areas. Yes, perfect, right there. You can see we've highlighted the areas where we're proposing the management of the Phragmites there. Mostly on the east side, there's a stand there, and then it's heavier along the north side. So that area would be routinely mowed to try to control that. The salt marsh vegetation, the Spartina patens, and some of the high tide bush that's in that area would hopefully come back. As I said, we monitor and provide the commission with updates as we normally would on this type of project. And if found that the mowing isn't successful, we would look at proposing herbicide applications by a licensed herbicide applicator, as we've done on other projects. But before we did any of that type of work, we'd coordinate with the conservation office and go through those steps and get the product information and the licensed herbicide applicator and that information to the commission. Another activity that's proposed is the improvement of an existing shed. Josh, if you could go to that. Yes, perfect. There's an existing shed as you come into the property. What we're proposing is just to repair that shed in its existing footprint, jack up the shed, remove the rotted floor, pour new concrete floor, and then lower the shed back onto its foundation and reside it and re-roof it. We are proposing an 8-foot overhang off the back of the shed. That area is surrounded by open gravel area. The overhang's just proposed to put some equipment, out of the rain, kind of seasonally. So it's really not. It would just be posts on the end with a sonotube, so it wouldn't be a full enclosure. Uh, and another activity that we're proposing is within the buffer zone or just the edge of the wetland, there's some brush that had been discarded and pushed into the wetland by previous property owners. We'll be removing that. And there are some roof drains proposed at the house, which is just inside the edge of the 100-foot buffer zone. So we wanted to bring that to the commission's aware so that if that work was to occur, we'd be technically in your buffer, but it's all within the existing yard around the house. So I think the commission would be certainly concerned with the Phragmites management because that's in the wetland. And as I said, we did perform that through the methodology that's included in the notice. We did submit it as an ecological restoration notice of intent and received DEP's file number for that. And that'll bring it back to the commission.
Jen.
Right, it's me. I forgot. I mean, I'm here. Just used to being co-pilot. Thank you for all that helpful detail. Jen, do you want to chime in?
Yes, I met Brad maybe a week ago. We did a site visit to see where the work would be occurring, and it's what's proposed is in line with what we've done with other sites as far as managing Phragmites. The shed is keeping the same footprint that it already has, and it did receive DEP comments that have been mentioned that if herbicides were to be used, it would be, need to be a licensed applicator and, coordinate that through the office.
Yeah. All right.
Okay. Penny.
Yeah, no, I just have one quick question. Brad, is that shed already on a concrete foundation or is that new, the concrete foundation?
The concrete foundation would be new.
Slab.
Yeah, just a slab, correct. The floor underneath is rotting and it needs to be repaired.
Okay, you're out of the 50, but you're in the 100. All right, I just wanted. Okay, thank you.
Sure.
Eric?
Well, it's always good to have Phragmites removal.
Yes.
Clearly that for days. So love to see that. I am just wanting a little clarification, Brad. Is the location of the debris in the buffer or in the wetland?
Right in this image, if you see where it says 50-foot buffer, there's some logs. You can actually see it under the blue shading. There's some logs that have been discarded there. And then there's brush that's probably in the vicinity of A8 to A10. That's proposed to be removed. We're not proposing to clean the wetland or remove all organic material. It's really, yes, there's logs there that were cut and stacked. And then there's some excess brush that was pushed into the wetland. So, but we wouldn't be going wetland and then removing all, fallen material. It's just the excess material.
All right, and the motive specifically for what's in the photo right here?
Yes, just the pile of logs that have been placed there is just to clean it up so that it isn't a pile of logs.
Right. I mean, I understand the, desire to remove some of the stuff that might be unsightly. Just from my point of view, it does provide habitat, for a lot of our, insects and as a result, food for other higher food chain organisms. So just whatever can be left would be appreciated. Obviously, if there's work that needs to be done to remove things that have been put there illegally, things were dumped into the wetland. We don't want that either. But yeah, no, I just wanted some clarification on those items. So thank you, Brad.
Sure, thanks.
Brendan or Richard?
Richard?
I think I'm okay based on what I've heard. Thank you.
All right. Brendan?
Yeah, I'm good. Thank you.
All right. Do we have anybody in the audience with questions on this one?
I do not see any hands raised.
Okay. Jen, what do you want to do for this one?
Close an issue.
Okay.
I'll make a
I'll
motion.
make a
to close.
motion.
Oh, it's a competition.
Go ahead,
for it.
Richard.
I just thought you'd want a motion off.
I'll motion off.
Make a motion to close and issue 20 Wood Island Road.
I'll second it.
Oh, all right. Eric,
Yes.
Brendan,
Yes.
Jen, yes.
Okay.
Thank you very much.
The next.
Thanks, Jen. Sorry about the short notice on that one.
I'm good.
You don't know how tempting it is when you listen to this to like.
I'm just like, I'm like here and just relaxing, and then I realize I'm still in charge.
You did
You
well
can
with
do
all
both.
that. There you go.
Not
Yeah.
everybody can do both.
And walk at the same time.
I saw
Oh,
that. You're
well,
getting
we
in
know
some
that.
steps. You're getting in some steps while
A
you're.
lot.
Yep.
Oh.
Okay. What's next?
We're gonna get a few of those at town hall. We can all, except you'll have to listen to me puff and puff as I go.
Yeah, you've inspired us.
All right. 323 Gannett Road
Yeah.
is a
RDA.
RDA. So on 5/5/25, 6 p.m., the Situate Conservation Commission will hold a wetlands hearing under Chapter 131, Section 40, Massachusetts General Laws, and Section 30700, Town of Situate Code of Bylaws, request determination of applicability for Vicky Ardice for construction of a one-story addition located at 323 Gannett Road, Scituate. Abutters and other interested parties are invited to attend. Information to access the meetings available on the agenda posted on the website. And do we have someone?
I'm here, Dick Rockwood from
Oh, good
Rockwood
evening, Dick.
Design. Hi, Frank. How
evening.
are you? Good evening. This is also a family member too. So we want to add an addition of I can't even see my own printing here on the screen, but I think it's a 16 by 16, 18 by 16.
We
Yeah,
won't tell
18
your family that you don't know what this.
Oh, between my glasses and the screen size. Yeah, 16 by 18 family room, one story that we want to add. And we are well outside of the 100-foot from any of the buffers, from the wetland, I should say. And John Zimmer had flagged the property for me. And so what I did was I compiled the plans from the neighbors on either side because they had some wetlands. So there's multiple copies of site plans.
Yeah.
And then I did a compilation of it just to show that we're definitely out of the wetland. But you can see the elevation 12 there. And so that puts us into a flood zone. And so just that back corner of the addition is in a flood zone. So therefore, I spoke with Bob, and he wanted me to come to the board, and spoke with Jen, and we thought, and request for determination hopefully would be adequate for this, just not to incur a lot of other expenses. We're debating between either a concrete pier foundation or helicals. I think we're leaning towards helicals. We're getting some prices, and it is less disruptive. I'm well above the elevation with the finished floor. We're at 16.5, and this room will be even with the rest of the house. So That's pretty much what we're proposing to do. Just a family room addition.
Huh.
And you have some other documents. I think I submitted and some photos.
Yep.
Pretty much that whole area is all lawn, all the way back to the yard, all the way back to the shed, which is shown on this site plan.
Yep.
Okay. Jen, thank you, Richard.
Yes, I do think this meets the requirements for a determination of applicability. We did talk about the resource line. I would say we're not necessarily not accepting this line. I do think it might continue up the side of the Conley property that's there, or actually not their property, but actually maybe even the property over on the Anderson side. We had a filing for one of those properties in the last few years, but even if it did, it's just maybe I do think it's outside of the 100, but it could be a little bit closer. But either way, this addition, I think, could be a negative determination, and then I would recommend not accepting the delineation.
Yeah.
Okay. All right. Let's see who we got here.
Jen, do we have that determination for that? I think I wrote it down.
Yeah, positive 2B delineation is not confirmed, and then, also do the negative as well.
Positive
You- you want-
2D.
Let's get to that at the
Yeah,
end.
yeah.
Okay. Let's see. Brendan?
Yeah, do not have any questions on this one for sure.
A lot of moving pieces here. He's got a lot of plans.
A lot of plans.
Yeah, really.
So,
No, I'm good.
Right in front of the driveway. Yeah.
okay. Eric?
Nope.
And my only question was what the foundation was going to look like, and Mr. Rockwood answered that for me without having to ask. So that's all I got.
Okay. Jen?
All good.
Penny?
I like it.
Richard?
I like simplicity. It looks good.
You have anybody in the audience? I get a kick out of the site plan that pops up that there's a 7-Eleven with $5 pizza meals.
Good. There you go.
Dribbles and McBrien's Diagnostics are all called out clearly on the.
You know where we are in the village.
There you go. And I was wondering if you were just mixing up the piles or the pear sticks. So that's good that you answered that one. I was trying to figure out if there was some method to your madness, but I don't see anything here. Anybody in the audience?
No, I don't see any hands raised.
Okay. Take a motion. Now that is the part. Here we go. It's
Okay,
a positive
I would say
2D.
positive 2B and then your
2B.
negative
to
3.
be or not to be. Which
I
Yes.
knew you'd do that.
Make a motion for a positive 2B and a negative 3.
and that's all good for you, Richard.
Awesome.
All right. That was Penny as a motion. Do we have a second?
I'll second that.
From Eric, all in favor. Richard,
Yes.
Jen,
Yep.
and Brendan.
Yes.
Great. Thank you. That was fun.
Yes.
Great.
Thanks a
Thank-
lot.
All right. Thank you all.
Have a good night.
That's a nice one.
Oh, Jen Foley's done running.
How about 498 First Parish Road? On 5/5/25 at 6 p.m., the Scituate Conservation Commission will hold a wetlands hearing under Chapter 131, Section 40 of the Massachusetts General Laws and Section 30700 Town of Scituate Code of Bylaws regarding their request for James Longboard to repair a failing septic system located at 498 First Parish Road. Scituate, abutters, and other interested parties are invited to attend. And before we get into this, I mean, I don't think this is going to take too long. Jen Foley, how much more time do you have?
Oh, it isn't even
Till 8.
7:30.
Okay.
Yeah, I
Well,
have
just because I'm
35
going to
more
have to,
minutes.
I have to recluse myself from the next hearing.
Okay,
Oh, you'll be good.
Okay.
you just
All right.
jinxed us, but we'll see.
So we have somebody from Morse Engineering.
Yes, this is Greg Morse, and I'll keep it quick. Representing the property owner, James Lonborg, this is a request for determination of applicability for property at 498 First Parish Road. This is a septic system repair project. The property is approximately 2 acres in size, has an existing 5-bedroom single-family home. Looking at the screen here, First Parish Road is located at the bottom of the page. There's a failed septic system, and the goal here is to replace it with a new Title V compliant septic system. The wetlands we have are a bordering vegetated wetland. They're on the left-hand side of the screen, highlighted in blue. And extending off of those are the 50-foot buffer in red and the 100-foot buffer in green. The, the proposal here is to put in a new 1,500-gallon septic tank and a 1,500-gallon pump chamber. You'll see that those are at the rear of the house, between the house and a detached barn. And that would pump to a new leaching chamber system in the front yard, which is entirely outside the 100-foot buffer. The two tanks are at 81 feet and 82 feet from the BVW at their closest point. Again, the leaching field is outside the 100-foot buffer. We have an erosion control barrier around the down gradient limit of work at the tanks, as well as at the soil absorption system. This would meet all of the Title V presumption requirements listed in the Act, as all the work is proposed outside the 50-foot buffer and erosion controls are in place. It's an upgrade of a failed septic system. Therefore, it's presumed to protect all of the interests in the Act. I'm going to turn it over to you.
Okay, thank you. Jen?
I think it meets the requirements for a negative determination. Good that they have the erosion control and limit of work on there. The flags for the wetland are off their site, so for that, that would be one of the reasons to not want to accept them because that's on somebody else's property. There might be some wetlands behind the property and over on the other side, but away from where this work is occurring. So I don't have anything else to add.
Okay, thank you. Let's see. Richard?
I think it's another one that's pretty straightforward. I don't have a problem or a
Okay.
question.
Penny?
No, I'm all set.
Jen?
What's the radius of the tree that's being removed? I just can't quite see it.
Sure. Yeah, there's one tree being removed, and that is a 36-inch.
Big one.
That seems that's a big one.
It is.
Um, hopefully they'll make some furniture out of it. Is there, could we do it's already a pretty wooded lot, but I guess just tossing out any mitigation for that, but I guess we'll see how it goes.
All right.
I'm okay for now.
All right. Brendan?
Yeah, I have nothing additional.
Okay. Eric?
I'm sure other than needing to replace his septic system, I'm sure Jim's probably upset about having to remove that tree too. But yeah, I think that replacing a failed system is always a good thing. So I really have no questions or additional comments.
Okay. Do we have anybody in the audience on this?
I do not see any hands raised.
Okay. Greg, do we know where the existing system is? It's being filled, I assume.
Sure. Yeah, there's two cesspools at the property currently. One is in the driveway between the barn and the existing house you'll see a
Yep.
circle that has a rim. That's one cesspool. The other cesspool is kind of at the back right-hand corner of the house. Um,
Oh, yeah.
that was a separate laundry gray water system. So they're being combined together into just one new septic system.
Well, to Eric's point, that system that's in front of the barn is almost in the 50. So getting that system up and out is pretty good mitigation on its own. Um,
Yeah. Yeah.
okay. I don't have any other questions.
Okay.
And
Motion.
there's really no need for any erosion control around this.
We do have erosion control right down by the tanks, where you'd have a little bit of a bigger excavation where the tanks are going, and then just around the leaching field.
Okay. Oh, I
Where
see
that
it.
is.
Okay.
Yeah.
Super. Okay.
Okay.
Yep. Take
Make
a
a
motion.
motion for a -3.
That's Penny.
And can you add a 2B to that?
Oh, this
Positive
is a
2B?
2B too.
Positive 2B.
Okay. Positive 2B. -3.
That's Penny. I have a second.
I'll second.
Second from Jen. Ooh,
I think Eric knocked you out, Jen. Sorry.
yeah.
All in
Hurts.
favor. All in favor. Richard,
Yep.
Jen,
Yep.
Brendan,
Yes.
Frank, yes. Great. Thank you, Greg.
Thank you. Good evening.
All right. So I'm out of the next one. Um,
What a
Uh,
night, Jen.
All right,
Wow.
Jen, did you receive the legal
Yes.
ad? Okay.
Yes, I did. All right. On May 5th, 2025 at 6 p.m., the Scituate Conservation Commission will hold a wetlands hearing under Chapter 131, Section 40 of Massachusetts General Laws and Section 30700 of the Town of Scituate Code of Bylaws for a request for determination of applicability filed by Tony DiMare for the stabilization of a coastal bank located at 15 Circuit Ave, Scituate, Mass. The butters and other interested parties are invited to attend. Information to access meeting will be available on the agenda posted on 10 website.
And we have Brad Holmes to present.
Thank you, members of the commission. Brad Holmes from the ECR on behalf of Tony Diamara for his property here at 15 Circuit Avenue. We've submitted an RDA application for a re-landscape project. There's about a 16-foot wide strip behind the stone revetment, between the stone revetment and the edge of the lawn that has failing vegetation, and the property owners would like to remove that vegetation and replant with native uh, coastal salt tolerant species. So what we would do is the area adjacent to the wall would be planted with American beach grass, and then a combination of shrubs and wildflowers would be planted behind that until you get to the lawn turf. This wouldn't be an expansion of the lawn. It would just be re-landscaping within that bed to get a better variety of species that can withstand some of that coastal splashover. No vegetation is going to be able to take a big scouring wave overwash, but this will be able to withstand better salt spray and some occasional runoff. As I said, it's all within the existing strip, and it's just a reworking of an area so that we can have better success and some diversity here to add some color and some berry producers and maybe a little wildlife habitat value for some occasional passing birds or whatnot. But with that, I'll bring it back to the commission. Thank you.
Great, thank you. Jen, what do you got for us?
I definitely think this meets an RDA with native vegetation going in. So I don't have any additional comments or questions for it.
Okay. Eric.
Yeah, it's always nice to get projects like these presented. I guess there's only one question, Brad. I was wondering if you and the applicant might be amenable to substituting the Rosa rugosa with Rosa virginiana, just because of the Rosa virginiana's uh, not as aggressive and not, on sort of that line between, considered invasive.
Yeah, we'd definitely be open for that. I think there are some Rosa rugosas within that area that we could save and just incorporate, but we could change the plan so that we wouldn't be introducing new Rosa rugosa. It would be Rosa virginiana.
Yeah, no, it's just a small thing. Just anywhere that's being proposed. I'm just offering that as a suggestion for just a replacement because it has been popping up on some restricted lists. So I just was wanting to introduce that, but I appreciate it. Thank you, Brad.
Sure, thanks.
I always love hearing the Eric insights. Learn something new. Richard, how about you?
Actually, the only question I have is one I think I already know the answer to. Brad, I'm assuming that no big equipment to take out anything, just all either hand or very small equipment.
Small equipment. There might be the need for just a mini excavator to help turf off some of that root mass. Be hard to do manually, but there's no need for big equipment in there.
Okay. And I'll defer to Eric on anything about the plants, so that's good. I'm happy.
Brendan.
I can offer no additional insight. I have no questions. Thank you.
Oh, don't sell yourself short, Brendan. Sure.
Well, I
You
am
got some.
following Eric on the plants. I love the plants. I love the project. It's great. I like it. Thank you.
Penny, how about you?
The only comment I have is once this is in, Brad, and it looks like it's going to be lovely, it might entice the neighbors to do the same. It would be really nice. I think it's a great example of how to protect your yard, but also bring some beauty to it.
I
Very
agree.
good. Yeah.
Hopefully,
Right. Good point,
look
Penny.
across and
Yeah. Well, I certainly would. I'd be, oh, I need to do that.
Yeah, reduce
Thank
the
you.
amount of lawn turf. You don't have to mow as much.
I like
Except
to
Penny
mow.
likes to mow her lawn.
I love to
That's
mow my lawn. But thank you. I like the project.
all right. Think we got everybody.
Yeah, just the audience and you.
Yeah. Do we have anybody in the audience with questions? Now would be the time to raise your hand.
I do not see any raised hands for this.
All right. Jen, what do you want from us?
Your negative determination, please.
Yeah.
Okay.
I make a motion for a -3.
Take a second.
I'll second that.
Ooh, Brendan got in there. It's
Oh.
because of the plants.
Yeah.
All right. Penny. Oh, you made the motion. Eric.
That's okay. Yes.
Yes.
Richard.
Yes.
Jen. Yes. All right, we're good.
Thank
you.
All set. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, Jen.
Yeah, we're just having fun here.
Yeah, we are.
Yeah.
Good night. 22 Oceanside Drive.
No, it's 22 Ocean Drive.
It's definitely Ocean Drive.
And there is a difference.
Ocean Drive. Sorry.
Yeah,
Thank
and
you.
it's upside. Oh, okay.
On 5/5/25, 6 p.m., the Scituate Conservation Commission will hold a wetlands hearing under Chapter 131, Section 40 of Massachusetts General Laws and Section 30700 Town of Scituate Code of Bylaws for the request of a determination of applicability filed by Pamela.
Cheechin.
Thank you very much. For the installment of native plants located at 22 Ocean Drive, Scituate. abutters and other interested parties are invited to attend. Information to access the meeting will be available on the agenda posted on the website. And thanks again for that one.
This looks good.
Okay.
Josh, can we turn this upside down because it is upside down?
Okay, rotate it.
Yeah,
There we go.
I know. Yeah, Ocean Drive's
Okay.
upside down now, but the rest of it's right side up.
Oh.
Okay, so the ocean is on top.
Okay, and the applicant who's presenting this?
Yep, Pam Gachijan, homeowner. And I do believe that the landscaper of ours, Stephen Brandon, is likewise on the Zoom meeting. But for purposes of presenting, I can do that. Very straightforward. We are looking to remove the existing vegetation that resides on the street side of the home. Demarcation lines for that, you can see in this rendering on the right side of the home, there is an existing fence. So it's the vegetation starting at that fence line running straight to the street. And then on the left side of the home, it's a little bit difficult to see, but there is a small deck that extends out to the property, and that is essentially the midline of the home. So that is our starting point, working again directly back to Ocean Drive. Everything that is on the other side of the fence and the other side of the deck line that I just mentioned is dunage and obviously the coastal facing land that will remain untouched. The impetus for the project, some of you may have already heard, is a personal experience that we had, my husband and I, with getting a very bad case of either poison ivy or poison sumac. And then upon calling our landscaper out, we were told that there is this poisonous invasive vegetation in nearly all of our vegetation. So it has been born from the need to remove all of that poisonous vegetation, and in full transparency has turned into somewhat of a vanity project. So we are looking to beautify. With that in mind, however, we will be focusing on keeping the land as is, no regrading involved, and planting of vegetation that will that's native and that will obviously be able to survive the coastal conditions that are present, with little to no maintenance involved from us. So in terms of the actual landscaping design and plan, that is something that Stephen can certainly speak to.
Hi, how are you guys? Good evening. Stephen Brandon, Brandon Landscaping. Yeah, so the basis of the plan, we would be removing any vegetation that is currently present. There is poison sumac and poison ivy tied throughout everything that is currently existing. I kind of hesitate to say living because not much is even living at this point. It's kind of just completely strangled out with poisonous invasive plantings. Everything in here is salt tolerant plantings, most native, if not all. I believe some are existing. But everything is no grading to be done, just removal of vegetation. The the wall in the design that is existing, so there will be no construction to be done. No dwellings. It's a pretty minimally invasive, I should say. So that wall is currently there already. So we are just removing invasive vegetation and replacing with new vegetation.
Okay,
We should start with Eric.
I guess. Go to our plants guy right away.
Yeah.
Or Jen, actually, we do have an agent that should give us some guidance here.
He just said it. I was gonna mention that wall is already there. So all of the work is regarding plantings.
Okay.
We do have, sorry to interrupt, we do have a cobblestone border to differentiate the crushed stone on the outside with the grass on the inside, the American beach grass. That was put there just to, since obviously it's going to be tough to get any type of lawn to establish there. We figured, hey, let's put native beach grass in there to kind of mimic a lawn, what a lawn, would look like. So that was the thought there, but there is minor, cobblestone work that will commence.
Okay, thank you. I'm curious about the ones that are the poison ones, but Eric, why don't you chime in on this one first, if you don't mind?
No, not at all. I do have a few things. So while I do appreciate the Ammophila, the beach grass being introduced, for the record, I just wanted to clarify poison ivy and poison sumac are not invasive. They are native, and do provide some ecologic benefit, especially poison ivy. Obviously not for humans. It's not great to have in our yards that we're trying to interact with. So I understand the desire to get rid of that. But just for the record, I wanted to clarify that. Also, outside of the beach grass, I don't see many things on here at all that are native. So for the record, I wanted to clarify that I do not see any natives outside of the Ammophila, the beach grass. And I do have a question, and are the plants that are being proposed going to be in existing soil profile? If so, has there been a soil test done? And if not, is soil going to be brought in, and has that been spec'd?
I can certainly try and answer that, although I don't know if I have the expertise to do so. I mean, just based on what you're saying, anything that we do plant that is expected to be native, we are expecting to plant it directly into the existing sandy soil that is already on the property. That is my understanding. So to
Sorry,
answer your question, go ahead, Stephen.
It wouldn't let me unmute on my own. I had to raise my hand. I know there has not been any soil tests done. Of course, we are open to soil testing. We briefly, spoke about potentially needing to bring in some compost to build the bed. I don't think any major reconditioning needs to be done. That will survive in sandy conditions. We would like to just put in as is, but no, there has been no soil testing done yet.
Yeah, I mean, just looking at it, the lavender, the hydrangea, the Pinus parviflora, the viburnum awabuki, the Pinus nigra would be, but everything else to that point, not. Cetus atlantica is not. The Carl Foster is not. The Elijah Blue festuca is not. The Heuchera, I'm not sure that cultivar, so I can't comment on that. The Pennisetum is not. Cetus atlantica, I think I already said that is not. So anything that is going to require soil amendment does have some concern for me, because introducing any compost of any significant quantity will change the soil chemistry, specifically phosphorus, and that is the concern next to a resource area. So I just wanted to point those things out just as I
Eric,
look at this plan.
if I may interrupt you briefly, I just want to make it known to everybody there on the committee that I am certainly amenable and open to changing the actual species that are currently in this design to species that are in line with native species. And obviously not only for the sake of the environment, but probably more importantly to the point that you are raising as a homeowner. I'm not terribly interested in getting into a very complicated and sophisticated process of amending the soil to accommodate the vegetation. It's easier for us in the interest of keeping this as simple and straightforward as possible from a financial standpoint as well, just to go in
Sure.
with other species. So certainly amenable to that. I just wanted to make sure I'm on record as
No,
understanding your perspective.
Yeah, no, I appreciate it. I'm just pointing it out just so there's an accurate representation for the record of what's native, what's not, just so there's no misunderstanding when it comes to the discussion on this project. But I hear you, and I definitely appreciate your willingness to look as much to a native palette as possible.
I can certainly submit to the designer who did the design himself. We submitted a list over of plantings that were listed on the website. I do and should cross-reference to see what to make sure that he does a better job at distinguishing native things. But as I'm looking at it right now, some of it is existing, but
Sure.
not much. So yeah, and I'm certainly open to any change needed to be made as well.
Excellent. Well, that's all I have.
Hey, thank you. It was pretty extensive.
Good.
Richard?
I can't match him.
Well, it's your neck of the
No, because
woods.
I love the idea of what they're trying to do, and I like the idea that if they do it, it's going to last, and I like the idea that it's native. So I'm good.
Okay. Penny?
Yeah, that's the only thing. How would we handle if we give a -3 now? How do we handle changing the plant? That a -3 with the condition that the plants all become native? I don't know.
So,
Can they submit a updated list to us?
Sure.
so Jen, what if we do that? If we take this in conceptually,
Yeah.
I mean,
Oh, yeah.
I think that happens with a lot of these sites is that, that one person lays out the plants and then the next person goes to execute it and finds that some of the plants either aren't compatible or available, and then they try to make those. I think if we accept in general, there's a large area that's going to be beach grass, if that's going to remain, and we get a sense of these vegetation, the trees, shrubs,
Yeah.
bushes, and then I guess maybe landscaper could source that sort of stuff and come back to us with a um, with a with maybe a revised planting. And I think that
Plantless.
they understand as well. They seem to get it. They don't want to plant a bunch of things that are going to be difficult to maintain or that won't live. So um, I think if we got a revised plant list that Eric would be willing to review with you, Jen.
Yes.
I think
That's
we
my
could
only comment, okay? Because I think the idea is absolutely superb. I love it.
just blow it up, Penny. Just blow it up.
It is beautiful. I
uh,
love the beach grass. Oh my God, the way you have it.
okay. Jen?
All good.
Okay. Brendan?
I'm all good.
Okay. So I guess a -3 with that caveat. Does that make sense to you, Jen?
Yes.
Okay. So I'll make a motion for a -3 with the condition of a native redoing the plants to be more native.
Updated plant list.
Yes,
Okay.
updated plant list. Thank you.
To be approved before everything goes in.
Yes.
Okay.
Yep.
All right. And so that was a motion from Penny, second from
Stephen does have his hand up, so I just want to,
Oh,
in case there's something else to be
yeah.
said.
Thank you for seeing that.
I'm sorry. I'm just gonna stay unmuted. I got my little one running around upstairs, so I keep muting it. But is that something that you'd like me to? Would Eric feel comfortable shooting an email over with a list? I don't want to put more work on your plate, obviously, but with a list of things, is there anywhere I could see a list of things to make any revisions? Or
is there a source, Eric, that he could go to that would give them a little more
Yes, but I
guidance.
can't think of it off the top of my head.
We can
Go ahead.
figure that out.
Yeah,
Alrighty.
I'm not terribly concerned if I talked to Jen, Stephen, if you two are in correspondence. We can get you some reference material so that you can source, a more significant plant list to return.
Thank you.
Yeah.
What we want to be careful of is we don't want to tell you a whole bunch of plants that you should plant that maybe or may not get there either. So between you, come up with something that makes sense.
Sure.
Work it
Yeah,
out.
and
Okay.
there should be some coastal zone planting guidelines just on the Mass DEP website, even that you could reference. So there are resources available for these types of landscape initiatives along coastal zones.
Sure.
Okay. Right. And so we were with
I made the motion.
Yep. And I got a
I'll
second
second.
from somebody, I thought, but maybe not. So a second from Eric. All in favor? Richard,
Yes.
Jen,
Yes.
Brendan.
Yes.
Great. Frank, yes. Thank you. Okay.
Thank
75
you.
Rebecca
you.
Road.
Oh, you're
Thank you.
welcome. Thank you.
Good evening.
Good evening. On 5/5/25 at 6 p.m., Situate Conservation Commission will hold a wetlands hearing under Chapter 131, Section 40, Massachusetts General Laws, and Section 30700 Town of Situate Code of Bylaws for the request for determination of applicability by Daniel Bagman for the installment of wooden piers located at 75 Rebecca Road, Scituate. Abutters and other interested parties are invited to attend. Information to access the meetings available on the agenda. It looks like we have a drawing here from Rivermore. Do we have who's presenting this?
I think we have Edward D. Simone to present. And we might
Yes.
also have some photos to show as well, if that's helpful.
That'd be great. So
Hi.
good evening.
I'm sorry, did you say you want the photos?
We got them.
No,
I
we
already
have
have
them. I
them.
was just
Okay.
prompting Josh that
Thanks.
if they were requested, they could be shown.
Oh, okay.
So why don't you explain briefly what you'd like to do, sir?
Well, I'm just
And your name
adding
and address, just
Oh, my name is Ed DeSimone, 27 Centennial Street in Plymouth.
okay.
I'm going to be doing the work there for the homeowner. So they had a home inspection, and the home inspector was just concerned about a couple of the tree posts, the existing posts. So he thought they were a little deteriorated, so he wanted them shored up. So I had Peter Falk from Rivermore Engineering out there, and he just suggested leaving the existing posts in place and just adding 2 new posts next to the existing ones.
Okay.
So
And
the
that's what we can see in that sketch.
yes, there'll just be 2 post bases, big feet bases with sonotubes, 12-inch sonotubes, and 6x6 posts, pressure treated posts.
Okay. Jen?
I don't have any additional questions.
Okay. Jen Foley? We get Jen, or we do
Yeah.
Sarah?
Nope. So these are so how you probably said it, but I was trying to dissect the drawing. How many are you putting in? It's 2 for each one that's
No,
failing,
just
but how many?
two in total. There's 2 existing, so
Oh,
I'll just
okay.
be adding two next to the 2
Oh,
existing
okay.
posts. Yes.
Okay. And you're gonna hand dig under the house?
Yes.
Yikes. Okay, have fun.
Yeah. Yeah, I know. Mhm.
All right. No, I'm good, Frank.
Okay.
I'm not digging, so it'll be good.
Okay, Brendan?
I think I am good again.
Okay.
Thank you.
Eric?
I am good too.
Penny?
Oh, happy digging.
Thank you.
Okay. And
I appreciate
Rich?
it.
Richard?
I'm all set.
Okay. That's
Negative
it
three.
for me. Anybody in the audience?
No,
Okay.
I don't see any hands raised.
Take a motion.
I'll make a motion for a -3.
That's
I-
Richard. Who seconded that?
Kenny.
Geez, she did not wait a sec. I mean, I'm thinking Richard was done saying. How about
He
Jen?
just finished.
All in favor, Jen,
Yep.
Brendan,
Yes.
and Eric. If Penny doesn't make the motion,
Yes.
she's not going to miss on the second. That's for damn sure.
Well, I'm ready.
Um, let's see. What else do we have here tonight?
Oh,
Request for minor modification or modification amendment at 184 Redwood Foster.
Yes, they are working out some final details to their site, mostly in regard to stormwater. So some changes to the originally approved plan will need to be addressed.
So we're not discussing that this
No.
evening?
No.
Well, I think they wanted to show what they're thinking of and see if there's any big feedback, and then they'll put together a more detailed site plan.
Okay, it looks like Attorney
Okay.
Ehrenberger's got his hand up.
Okay, I'm unmuting Orenberger, and we're looking for the plan that was sent over, the sketch that was sent over.
Okay.
Nope, go back to the other one, I think.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, that was the one from today.
Apple berm.
Okay. Looks like we have a couple of players here. Maybe we can unmute Mr. Attorney Ornberger. We got Rick Grady.
Yeah.
Looks like Deb Keller, maybe.
Yeah.
Okay.
Hi, this is Bill Arnberger. I just did a quick introduction. Joe Harold is here along with Rick Grady, as you said, and I know that Rick has been working back and forth with the town's consultant, Deb Keller, on this matter. And there have been some discussions. Again, this is a minor modification, and I'll let Rick speak to this, but I want to let Rick speak to this because Rick has a sketch plan here, which we think addresses all the issues that Deb might have on this. And if it looked conceptually copacetic, then Rick would finalize this, submit this to the agent and Deb to review, so that at the next available meeting, after they've had an opportunity to review this, that we could get this minor modification voted on, because the Heralds have the ability to have this work done very quickly before into the midsummer. Rick, if you want.
Thank you. Yeah, Rick Grady from Grady Consulting. As the commission may be aware, there's a row of cobblestone edging with mortar that runs along the property line here between the Heralds and the Delmonicos. The Delmonicos have some concerns that surface runoff doesn't have the ability to flow from east to west across the Heralds property due to those cobblestones filled with mortar. So what we're suggesting here is in that portion on the Delmonicos property, you can see a contour 11, and then there's a low point elevation 10.6. And then as we get further towards the revetment or the ocean there, it rises up to about 11.1. So there is an area there that's potentially trapped to a depth of a few inches. So what we're suggesting here is that we take those cobblestone berms off the property line, move them in 2 to 3 feet so they're entirely on the Harold's property, and connect that with the crushed stone trench and drain that's already partially in existence there behind the existing cobblestones, and extend that crushed stone trench so that if we can imagine for a minute that the ground is completely frozen, that elevation 10.6 would have the ability to have surface runoff flow across the property line, enter that trench, and flow downhill to where we're showing a 10.1 to the left of the proposed berm there. So we believe that should address any of the comments to have assurance that any surface runoff there has the ability to continue to flow overland from east to west.
Okay.
Bill Armberg, just briefly, the one other thing that I'd spoken with Jen earlier today is if conceptually this looks good, we'd also put a note on the plan saying that on an annual or more frequent basis, if necessary, that the trench would be inspected to make sure that it is in proper working order and not something that would impede the flow of water.
Okay. Did I see Deb Keller on that?
Yep. I'm here, Frank.
Yeah. Can you, assuming that you've looked at this as well?
Sure. Deb Keller with Merrill Engineers and Land Surveyors. So I did take a quick look at this afternoon, and Rick and I did speak about doing this. So thank you for getting this sketch out. This makes a little bit more sense than when we were talking about it. So I understand what you were trying to explain to me. And this is what I was looking at and wanted to ensure that we had a free draining flow path for water moving east to west. I think this could provide that through that stone channel. The one question I was just curious about would be the 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 purpose of the cobble edging. Is there any reason for that on that edge? Will you be dropping it the few inches of grade change in
We
that
would,
area, or?
sure, yeah, we would be dropping that grade within the drainage trench there. However, maintaining the grass on the uphill side of that edging. And also provide a demarcation between the grass and the trench as well. So it'd be a slight drop off the grass into the trench of approximately half a foot.
Okay.
I think my only thing, Frank, is making sure that it's a positive flow east to west direction so that we know that that surface water can continue as existing conditions.
And we agree with that and understand that desire.
Okay. Looks like we got
two more hands, Frank.
Do you have any more? Jen, have you had a chance to look at this any more?
I
discussion?
appreciated Deb's question about some specifics about the cobble berm itself.
Okay. So the next step normally would be to have commission members question it. I think we've got a couple other folks
Yes.
on, so maybe we'll take that input and then discuss it. We have Tracy, and then I'm not sure. We have another hand up.
Yes. Do you want me to?
Unmute.
I can unmute them. They're
Sure.
together. I'm fairly certain. Okay.
Okay. And we just want a name and address for the record.
Can you hear me?
Yeah. Yes.
This is actually Derek and Tracy Delmonico. I use my wife's computer and
we won't confuse you. Go ahead.
We're together.
Yep.
But I just wanted to say that this has pretty much been a pretty big battle for us. I really don't think this was a design issue. It was clearly a construction issue. But the yard was raised, by my guess, up to over a foot, and that's blocked the flow. Now, adding the stone drainage, one storm coming over that wall and bringing all the debris will clog that trench drain in a matter of just one storm. And I've seen it happen. And I've even seen the Demaries debris, everything just come right down the hill and just clogs everything. So if you look at this drawing, I mean, you're talking our grade is 10.6. And they have elevation 11, which is pretty far away. I mean, that water has to go uphill. There's no way the water, once that stone trench is filled, there's no way the water is going through. And then my wife and I are back to square one, and we're dealing with a puddle that can freeze, and it's not safe for us. And you're talking mosquitoes. I mean, it's just, I'm just surprised that we're even still dealing with this. But, this is where we're at. And I really pretty much know that a trench drain is not going to work. And before, when we talked about a cobblestone edge, that was coming down a steep driveway, which was at, I don't know, 10%. So we weren't worried about water going from their yard to our house as much. I mean, we asked them to fill in the cracks of the curb, but now we're at the lowest point of all this drainage, and the water is just going to sit there. And by raising up the yard, they really created a bathtub for us. And a stone trench, while I know it's in their benefit, is not in our benefit. And I think that's pretty much our thoughts on the whole thing.
Okay. We have another hand up. I'm not sure.
Yes, Jeff Katzenstein.
Yes, thank you. Good evening, members of the commission. Jeff Katzenstein with DTM Law. Adam Brodsky and I represent the Delmonicos with respect to this issue. And we had sent a request for enforcement to the commission back in December of 2024. The photos that accompany that letter clearly show that this is more than a concern, as Derek was just making clear. And I'd be happy to share my screen to show you the photos of the water backed up against that cobblestone berm. It's clearly impeding the flow of stormwater drainage traveling from east to west across the properties. And my understanding had been the
Can you hear me?
Yes.
I'm sorry. I didn't know how to unmute me. Sorry.
Our understanding was that once Merrill had provided their recommendations, the Heralds would abide by those recommendations. And Deb Keller had issued her recommendations based on the existing conditions, and the cobblestone berm, which had been installed at a length that was clearly not reflected in any plan. And she recommended that at least 62 feet of that cobblestone berm be removed, as well as regrading of the Herald's property, which at this point, the top of the grass is at the very top of that cobblestone berm, whereas the grade of the Delmonico's property is at the bottom of the berm. So Grady, Rick Grady, who I understand is doing his best to try to address the issues of two neighbors who he has worked with, submitted a revised proposal that did not include any grading. And now, a couple hours before this evening's hearing, has presented this alternative plan. And so what we're requesting is simply that the Heralds abide by Merrill's original recommendations. We don't see any need for a revised plan. I think Merrill's recommendations, based on its review of the existing conditions and the original plans, make perfect sense to avoid these stormwater drainage issues. And that's all I have. Thank you.
All right. Thank you. It looks like we have Bill Ornberger's got his hand back up. And at some point, we want to jump to commission members. So I'll take a little bit more and then let the commission members weigh in. Bill?
Uh, Bill Arnberg, with all respect to Attorney Kassenstein and Mr. Delmonico, uh, this is exactly because there's a proposal and I don't like the characterizations that have been made so far, and I'm not gonna get into this or refute this. I'm perfectly willing to do this. I thought the purpose of uh, today's meeting, and it's almost like because Rick Grady's coming up with coming up with a good concept that he's being criticized for not coming up before. All these things are a give and take. So without getting into it, all I want to know is that we'll submit this and we're ready to fully vet this. And there's numerous other reasons as to why this is, such as on the abutting property, it's not in final form. There's a lot of issues there which we're hoping to avoid, and the Harolds have bent over backwards to try to come up with an acceptable solution, but this is what we're hoping it is. And so I don't, unless the commission wants, which I don't think the chairman wants, is to get into full-blown debate on this. Let's get what is here and let your consulting engineer opine on that. And I'm not an engineer, as are neither of the other people speaking on behalf of the abutters. So I think we let the engineers advise the commission. That's all.
Okay, thank you. And maybe we could hear back from Deb just for a minute. It's getting a bit later here. And just maybe make it a little clearer for us. The sketch that we're seeing now is something that was submitted, worked out today, or am I on the last couple
This
of?
after, yeah, this afternoon, it came across my desk this afternoon, probably after an earlier conversation that Rick and I had, expressing just a concern with the previous sketch. And what I iterated was I felt as though just opening up the cobble for, a foot and a half to get into the trench drain wasn't adequate to ensure that we knew that surface drain flow could flow across both the properties. So looking to have a condition where we have that open surface flow. So this is the sketch that came back this afternoon that Rick is proposing now, where it looks like from the sketch, and I would have to defer to when we have a final plan, but at least a few foot wide surface path for free flowing surface runoff across the properties. I don't know if
Okay.
that's helpful, but
And then
that's
so this is a sketch by Grady, submitted this afternoon.
Yep.
You've taken a quick look at it, think that it's a possibility,
Mhm.
and obviously, Rick, you think it must work if you've submitted it. But to the Delmonicos or their attorneys' argument that the grade in the Harold Yard is higher than it was before, is that, and that this drain won't carry away the water? Is that the consensus of what we're hearing?
That's correct. And I'm sorry, go ahead, Deb.
No, I was just going to say that Jeff did mention that I had submitted, it was either a letter, a memo, or email to the commission back last fall, comparing existing conditions to the proposed approved plan for the Heralds, and my recommendations at that time to match what was previously approved by the commission. I had recommended some adjustments in the grading in the back lawn such that you would have that open free flow across the yards. It's indicated that the grading, elevation grade has changed between existing and proposed. So that's, I think, where we're working to try to sort of make all of the conditions work to the best of our ability at this point.
Okay.
And I'd like to be clear that Bill Orenberger and I have worked together on this as best we can, and I appreciate Bill's communication on it. I know that, as I said, Rick is doing his best to address the competing concerns of two neighbors. But from our perspective, we have been patient with this process, and to have several revised plans submitted after there had already been, as I understand it, 5 rounds of peer review on the original stormwater drainage plan on this project. We'd just like to see some resolution soon, and this should not be a complicated approach. So again, we don't see any issue with what Deb had originally proposed in terms of modifications to the plan.
Okay. I'd like to get, it's already 20 after 8. I'm not sure if we have Jen on the line anymore. We can get some commission members. Is Jen Foley, are you still on, or did you have to leave?
She's gone.
Okay. Richard?
Yeah, I guess my biggest question is what happened to the original modifications after Deb made the original comments back in the fall? How did it get changed so much? And I don't recall that it all went through us. And I really am concerned for the neighbors concerned that they're going to be hurt by this. That's not what we're supposed to allow. So I've got some real concerns about this.
Okay. Penny?
I really would just like to see it officially submitted and discussed at a meeting as an amendment or modification. Otherwise, I have no comment. I hear what Deb is saying. I hear what Rick Grady is saying. I hear the neighbors, but yeah, no, I'm quiet.
Okay. Brendan?
Yeah, I'm kind of with Penny on this. And I mean, are we discussing the details of this modification amendment, or what is the goal of this discussion tonight is my question.
Not on the agenda. Yes.
Yeah, and can we just get this on the agenda, however, so we could actually, kind of hash it out? I don't think that we were intending to do this right now.
Okay. Eric?
I mean, it's not possible for us to verify whether or not there's been a change from the proposed and approved grading plan to what is currently existing. What is shown on the plan is what's shown on the plan, but if there is a change in what happened during construction, then that is a concern, especially if it is altering the flow of the water from east to west, from one property to the other and causing a backup. And if that grade is different in situ versus what was on the proposed plan that was approved, then I'm not confident that the proposed solution that is presented here tonight would necessarily work with the spot grades that were provided. And without having any of that context or information, I feel like it's hard for us to make a determination.
Okay. Did I get to everybody?
Except you.
All right, well, I think everybody that's on this has kind of got a gist from the commission members. Would like to see some more information, maybe get some firm input from Merrill, Deb, um, on this, and then I guess it would be important to see what was existing, what was proposed, and what's been built, so we can have the sense of what the differences are, and then if there's a modification that can be made to deal with those, um, and if we could get that information, maybe we can just move that along. But I think that's what we would, to me, that's what we'd want to see is what was existing before the project, what was proposed, and what we have now. And then is this modification something that the engineers can sign off on? Does that make sense?
Goes to me.
Yep. I was going to say the same thing, is to overlay your pre-existing condition, great contours versus what was approved versus the as-built, which I believe is what you're seeing here on this plan right now.
Right.
Tonight it's not.
That would make the most
that would be
sense to
very
me.
helpful.
Yeah, and if there's a way to remedy that, if it's different, then let's see what that is, and we'll take it from there.
Okay.
All right. So that's something you can just apply to the office for. At this point, there's no continuing or anything because we haven't opened anything. So, all right.
Yeah.
Good,
Moving.
thank you.
Thank you.
What's next?
Certificate of compliance, 20 Pleasant Street.
Yes, it was a septic and it's completed. So I just wanted to let you know that was on the list of things to issue.
Great,
Good.
thank you. Meeting minutes of 4/16.
I make a motion, we accept the minutes as written for April 16th.
Okay, that's Penny.
I second that,
From Brendan. He
Hmm.
was right on it while everybody else was
Hey,
still.
Brendan.
but I didn't want to be too fast.
Yeah. All in favor? Richard
Yep.
and Eric
Yes.
and Frank. Okay. What else, Jen? Josh?
If we have a couple minutes, there was a land donation brought up to the office. I guess off
Okay.
Tilden Road.
Oh yeah.
I'm looking for a map to maybe show the location a bit.
So
But
this is
I
the
don't know
property
if you
off of Tilden Road and back of the projects that are going up across from
correct.
Candlewood area.
Right. 146 and 154 behind those.
Oh, yeah, that's right,
So
Stephen.
that was in a filing we had probably a year ago,
Yep,
and the applicant had proposed that he had some additional open space behind that.
the stone wall.
Right.
Yeah.
And
I think Steve's trying to get on.
is there a hand up?
Steve Bjorklund, I think, is trying to get our attention.
Yeah, I'm trying to unmute you.
You did.
Can you hear me now?
Yes,
Oh, yeah.
Stephen.
Okay. Yeah, this is directly between behind the two houses that the foundations are going in right now. I think most of the commission members were at the on-site visit when we originally proposed the project. And part of that proposal was that I was going to donate, I'm not even sure how much it is, might be an acre, a little over an acre of land in the back that abuts up against an existing conservation piece out in the back. So this is, we took the language from the deed for the parcel that was in the back that Mike Hayes had done while he was still with us, and basically presented a deed to you guys with using the same language. And I know it has to go to the Board of Selectmen to be accepted, but this is the first step to see if the commission will accept the donation of the land. That's it.
And I'm sorry, you said it, Steve, I think, but do you know how much land is already there that's with the commission?
There's a pretty good sized chunk that's there. I know that. It was a larger piece. It was a big swamp that was out there. I think there might have actually been a couple of different parcels involved, Frank. And I can't think of the gentleman that just did the last one. He was at he was involved when they did that parcel that the Detweilers got, long driveway crossing.
Yeah.
And he donated a rather large piece in that area. His goes all the way back almost to the little streets that come off of Hatherley Road in there, Richfield Extension.
Yeah.
So the commission's got quite a large piece out there. And this just adds to it.
It adds to the critter life.
Well, it will never be touched, so that's a good thing. And that was the original proposal.
Whole thing. Yeah.
Yeah.
We've got to say.
Yeah, I don't have the language tonight to make the motion, but I just wanted to give everybody the update that make sure we all remembered it and knew the space, and I will work on getting what the motion needs to be.
Okay.
Okay, and we could do it at the next meeting, Jen?
I am hopeful.
Okay.
I'm sorry I don't have that ready for today, but I'll work on that.
Big deal.
Okay. But thank you, Stephen.
Okay, if there's anything I can do to help, just let me know. Jen can get a hold of me, and I'd be glad to help her along.
Okay.
Thank you.
It is. I'm just looking real quick at the map. That there is a good sized piece there. It's great to add some more.
We've got to protect whatever we can at this point, Frank.
Yep. Okay. Great. Thank you. Thanks,
Right,
Steve.
thank you.
Thank you. We'll get that sorted out in the next couple of years.
I know.
All right. Anybody else?
Just a quick question on the snail research.
Yeah, no, I don't have any updates yet. I haven't had any further submittals on that. I think they're looking to do some of it in Cohasset, and some of the landowners involved would need to obviously talk to them because they would be involved in it. But I haven't heard anything since I sent that email out.
Yeah, it seemed interesting. More data is a good thing, I'm sure. So,
Well, they'd
yeah,
have
it just
to go to the selectmen first to get permission. And so hopefully, I think they might be waiting until after the election for the new board, to approve things like this.
Sure.
That would be ongoing. But yeah, I think it's fascinating.
yeah, that's all I had. Just if there's any update on that. So thank you, Jen.
No, not for a while, I'm sure.
Okay. Anybody else?
No.
Okay, it's 8:30.
Yeah. Can we? Everything's set, I think.
I don't have anything else
Yeah, we
tonight.
did the minutes. I'm happy. Okay, I'll make a motion to.
It's all about you, Penny. If you're
Second.
happy.
I'll second it.
Hey,
Wow, a little fast there.
Wiggle.
That was Richard. That was Penny. All in favor. Brendan.
Yes.
Eric.
Absolutely.
And Frank, yes. All have a good night. Thanks so much.
Night. Thank you.
Good night.
Night.
Frank,
Have a good night,
don't
everyone.
forget to take that stuff that I left in the office for you, please.
Okay.
Okay, thank you.
Thanks, Penny.